Good evening. Welcome to the July 7th meeting of the Board of Trustees, Plymouth Community Schools. If you'll join us in the pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item is to set the agenda. Any additions or corrections, Andy?
There have been some additions with respect to just personnel additions since we posted on Thursday.
With that, entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Questions? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is set. Item 1.3, audience participation. Welcome. Are there members of the audience that would like to address any agenda item this evening?
We have several new staff members we'd like to introduce from all buildings.
Anyone else? Very good. Our next item is our consent agenda. Section 2, are there any items within the consent agenda that a board member would like to pull out and have considered separately or individually? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Have motion and second. I believe at this point we have some introductions.
We do, absolutely. Why don't we go ahead and start with Jefferson? Anything else?
All right. We have Kim Saunders. She is our new kindergarten teacher. She comes to us from Illinois. She taught kindergarten or preschool for all for 2 years, and she just taught the Countdown to Kindergarten program this summer at a different corporation. So she is ready to transition into kindergarten in Jefferson Elementary.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, and for Webster, we have actually 3 new teachers. First grade, Jordan Brummett. Second grade, Susan Such. And 4th grade, Lindsay Brewer. Did any of you want to say anything?
Welcome.
Glad you're here.
I would just like to thank you for this wonderful opportunity, and I'm anxious to start teaching.
Thanks.
We have one at Riverside. We have Allie Adams. You can go ahead and stand up, please. She's a 2007 Plymouth grad and a 2011 Purdue Boilermaker. Boiler up. Yeah, there you go. She will be an interventions teacher at Riverside.
And I just wanted to say thank you as well.
And then from Plymouth High School, I'd like to introduce Joseph Staley. He'll be teaching industrial technology with Project Lead the Way. Comes to us from LaPorte with several years of experience. Happy to have Joe.
Welcome.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Welcome each and every one of you. You all look so excited to get started. Okay, we have a motion and second. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations. Consent agenda is approved. Congratulations and welcome aboard. Item 3, business transactions. First one this evening is to consider the school board appointment to the library board.
Yes, so we received a letter from Susie Reinhold recommending Judy Harness be appointed to the Public Library Board. Mrs. Harness, absolutely, would be fulfilling the vacancy created by Eleanor Hackmer-Danielson's resignation, and the term would be until June 30th, 2016.
Excellent choice.
Yep, I would so move.
Second.
Had motion in a couple seconds. Any comments?
Did you just say the term will,
I have here till 2016, June 30th, 2016.
it's a 4-year appointment?
My correction.
Well, the letter indicates you would be completing
The
this
existing term.
unfulfilled
Oh,
term.
I see, you're right.
We'll see you again a year from now.
She's completing that existing one
Correct.
that Eleanor was not able to complete, you're right.
We could consider a lifetime appointment or something.
Could you do that?
We can change it, Susan.
No, you're right, sorry.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you for your willingness to serve. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Congratulations, Judy.
Item 3.2, consider Blueberry Festival agreement.
So before you, you have the agreement between from the schools and the Blueberry Festival. This is pretty standard from what you've seen in the past. So with that, I would recommend your acceptance of it.
You have the agreement here, the recommendation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. I don't believe there's any changes. Any questions or comments? When is the Blueberry Festival? Did we move it? Is that?
Labor Day weekend in Centennial Park.
It's still
I'm
town.
pretty sure.
See if anybody's listening. Okay, motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3.3, permission to apply for grants.
Every year, we'd like to ask your permission to apply for the federal grants along with some other grants that kind of pop up throughout the year. But we do want to ensure that any grants that do pop up throughout the year, that any grants that we decide to apply for will be aligned to our core mission and our core values. So, permission to apply.
So moved.
Second.
Got motion and second. This is fairly standard from year to year, gives them flexibility to react and not bring it back for every meeting or what have you. So, any other questions? All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And good luck. Get on.
Come on.
We'll do our best.
Item 3.4, review RUP, the responsible use policy redirection plan.
Yes, we brought this up last board meeting, and we actually have Allie Holland here just to give a brief overview of the RUP.
Well, with RUP, if you want to get any, RUP?
The RUP just changed a little bit of verbiage with an alignment to how much we charge for damages and the location of where it would happen. So our old RUP specified that damages would only be charged if it happened not at school, and we found that that was a loophole that kids were kind of taking advantage of, so we took that worded out. And then we have some charges that aren't necessarily $100, so things that were less than that, so we took it out to invoice specific damages for what is actually damaged. So, for example, if it's a trackpad on a MacBook, that's really only like a $49 charge, so we're obviously not going to charge $100 for something that's this and that. So those are the changes that we made specific to the RUP.
And so to go along with that, we created the redirection plan. So prior to this past year, when students would violate any part of the AUP, which is not RUP, their device was taken away for an amount of time and then given back. And then those savvy students would put everything back on that they got their device taken away for. So we thought that we needed something that would put the responsibility back on the student, not necessarily on the teacher to kind of figure out what that student's going to do when they don't have their computer, but more on the student and reflecting on their behaviors. So myself, along with the team of administrators in the tech department, created a tiered system. Everybody starts on the basic tier, which kind of gives them access to anything that they would need at school. But then when they violate any part of the RUP, they'll get moved down a tier. And then in Canvas, they'll be given an assignment. When they're moved down a tier, that actually restricts their access. There are 2 tiers they can be moved down, Tier 1 and Tier 0. In Tier 0, there's no internet access, but they can still use anything on their device, and they get to keep their computer. But they'll also have PDF versions of their textbooks, so we won't be taking that away from them. But they won't have Canvas and Google Docs and things like that. But the cool thing is, once they get moved down, they'll be given a reflection assignment where they'll actually video record themselves within Canvas that will be shared with the principal, as well as their parent, as well as the student, and then kind of reflect on their behavior. The goal is that they just take responsibility for their actions, and they realize that what they do online lasts longer than that split second of what they did, and hopefully that will cut down a lot of issues. We did pilot the tiers this past spring with different students, and it worked very well. We definitely will be playing around and making sure that it works this year, since it's the first year for the implementation of it. But there's also a chance for students to move up tiers to get more access within school. So the teacher can decide to do that as a classroom, or the students on their own can decide to do that. Everybody will be in the Canvas course, individualized to each building. Have any questions?
Just one, you said they have an opportunity to move up. Is that after they move down, or is there tiers above?
So there's tier 2, and then they'll move down for their violation to tier 1 if they do another violation, or if that violation was huge, then they'll get down 0, and then they'll work their way back up to 2. It will be up to the principal if they decide if they want them to move up to 3 or 4. However, if they move up to 3 or 4 and they have unlimited access, within reason, and they violate any part of the RUP, they'll get moved back to the basic tier and will not get to move back up the rest of the school year, because it's a privilege to have any kind of access at school.
Thank you, Lily.
This is an action item, right? So
It sure is.
Actually, it's in
I'm sorry?
addition to the student handbook, so that's
Oh,
something you
okay.
typically review, and this would just be an addition that you would review.
So be it. Any other questions? Good. Thank you. Item 3.5, consider bids for used computers.
Yeah, this is an action item, so you have in your packet, we received 5 bids for the computers this year, which is more so than we had when we sold Lincoln's machines last year. So with the bids that we had sealed bids that were due on the 19th, and then we opened the bids. Candy and the technicians and I kind of went through them and selected the vendors based on some of their, not only just their price, but some of the services that they provide as far as reconciliation and their grading scale and so on and so forth. So what we've got provided there is a recommendation for 2 separate vendors to get kind of a collection of both. If you recall, we sold the white ones from the elementary and Riverside as well as the MacBook Pros from the high school. And you can see that the MacBook Pros were substantially more money, so we went with the vendor that was only interested in the MacBook Pros, and then a separate vendor for the white ones.
Can't tell, I just got balanced, so I'm installing.
Okay.
While I get back in, we've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
I would. Second.
Motion is second. Questions?
Is Oscar Winsky a company?
It is. It's a recycling company based out of Lafayette.
Okay.
They're full recycling, so they'll take anything that can be recycling, but specific to electronics, they'll repurpose, and then they work with other corporations and entities that need computers that they can offer in a discounted price.
Thank you. Any other questions? Have motion and second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Old school. 3.6, consider selection of newspaper for legal advertising.
Each year, the school corporation needs to select a newspaper for our legal advertising. Since the majority of our community subscribes to the Pilot News, I would recommend that we use the Pilot News again.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second for the Pilot News. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 3.7, consider approval of annual financial report for publication. We now have a paper we can publish.
So each year, we are required to publish the annual financial report between August 1st and August 15th. And I would like to recommend the approval of the annual financial report to be published in the Pilot News between those days. And don't ask me any details about it, because I did it in December. It's 2014 information.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. We'll go ahead and have a choice here.
Just make sure we get it in on time.
Sandy is
As always.
wonderful at that.
As always.
Yep.
All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 3.8, consider nursing contract. St. Joe.
We would like to request the school board accept the St. Joe Regional Med Center's nurse contract for the 15-16 school year as presented. There is an increase of approximately $12,000 compared to the 14-15 contract. And SJRNC did, however, decrease their fee by 1% to help offset the increase. They did give some pay raises, which if they had worked for us, they would have gotten them as well. And our employees, I should say.
I would so move. Second.
Motion second, questions?
How many nurses do we have?
We have 7 nurses and 2 health aides.
We definitely need.
Yes.
Have motion and second, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 3.9, legislative update, I really don't have anything unless you all do.
The only thing is that the State Board of Ed met this week, and they're continuing ongoing discussion on the threat accountability model, looking for this flexibility in light of the fact that it was a new test this past year, and will be a new test again next year, but they have not settled on anything yet, so it's going to be an ongoing discussion over the next couple of months.
Andy, what were they referring to about able to use scores or not use scores?
That's what it is. So that, there are like 12 different proposals out there right now. I think a few of them indicate that they would not like to see any school's grade drop based on the testing from this past
Because of
year.
all the problems they had?
Not necessarily just the problems, but the fact that it was a new test on new standards this year, if you compare that to the year prior, whether that's fair or not, is the major question. So, continued debate.
Yeah.
That brings us to section 4, superintendent remarks.
With respect to commitment to students, I just wanted to highlight, with the help of United Way Marshall County, we were able to host a Countdown to Kindergarten program this summer. It included 2 classes totaling about 36 students. 17 days as it prepares students, most of whom have not had preschool experience with the academic and social skills prior to starting kindergarten. It was a neat thing that we were able to do this summer, and thanks to the teachers and aides who contributed to it, and United Way for helping secure funding for that. Caring, on behalf of Mr. Tyree, the outpouring of support and kindness toward him as he continues his recovery is greatly appreciated, not only by him, but by the entire school corporation. Shows that our school corporation has caring at its core. High expectations. There are several new teachers being hired this summer who have gone through a rigorous process to earn these positions. We're proud to have them part of our team and working for our students. Teamwork, our maintenance and technology departments, under the leadership of Bruce Johnson and Dave Shoke, have been working diligently this summer preparing for the start of school. Several maintenance projects in addition to the summer deep cleaning that occurs, and everything is on schedule. Additionally, there's some technology device updates that are happening this school year, and it requires a lot of work preparation prior to the start of school to ensure everything's ready when students arrive. So we appreciate that. Integrity, I've always considered a measure of my integrity to be that which I do or think when nobody's watching. We've had several teachers this summer, which is a shorter summer than what we're used to experiencing, commit a lot of time to their professional growth through developing curriculum, attending dyslexia training, participating in book studies, and so much more that I'm sure I'm not even aware of. So it's really, really appreciated. And enjoyment. Riverside Intermediate School recently had an opportunity to be recognized by the National Middle Level Association as a school to watch. We had a contingency go to Washington, D.C., a couple of whom are here this evening, and this is our second time receiving recognition. We're proud of the whole Riverside community for the success. And I think we'll do something formal here in the next month or two recognizing them. But I wanted to...
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it. I mean, are you going to come back and tell me? You want to talk about it now or later?
If you would like to talk about now.
Well, you're here, so I didn't know if that was the reason or if you're going to do something later. But
Jeannie and I and Mrs. Hershey and Mrs. Rumpler were able to attend Washington, D.C. It was an amazing experience. We were among several other schools across the entire nation that were receiving recognition from the Schools to Watch conference. In addition to that, we were able to meet with a legislative correspondent through Jackie Walorski's office on Capitol Hill, so that was an amazing experience. So we got to talk there to federal representatives on what's happening. I'm on the spot here, by the way. What is happening when and asking for the support, the continued support for middle level education. In addition to that,
We attended several meaningful sessions, which we gathered lots of information to bring back to our school and help improve a great school and make it even better. And so we're looking forward to sharing that information with our staff. And
we were one of 3 Indiana schools that were being represented there, so it was really an honor to be one of only 3 Indiana schools.
we also presented at the conference as well, and so we presented Dr. Yeager's Smart Strengths and some of the work that we've been doing within our corporation on that and the growth mindset. And in fact, there were many people interested in the growth mindset model and kind of working in that direction. And we were also interviewed by the president of the National Middle Level Forum for the possibility to be a lab school where she's applying for a grant and is considering schools that are kind of working with the growth mindset to bring lower performing schools into schools that are using it to see if there's ways we can train those schools to help their scores and attendance and all kinds of things.
We feel like we represented Riverside and Plymouth Community Schools very positively, and we appreciate the opportunity to be able to attend. It was a great experience, so thank you for that.
Did you have any fun while you were there? Did you get to go do some sightseeing? It wasn't all business, right?
Well, I mean, we had a lot of full days.
Yeah.
But we did our own personal dollar, of course. We did a Segway tour of the city, and it was a fantastic experience. So if you've never done one, we highly recommend it.
What a fun group, I bet you did.
We got caught in the rain.
We got caught in the rain coming back from dinner one night.
Awesome.
It was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. For a second, I thought you were going to stop, so you were interviewed by the president. I was going to.
I know, I held my breath too. I'm like, I didn't hear about this.
Well, thanks for sharing. The next regular board meeting, August 4th at 7 o'clock, and then the first day of school for students will be August 5th this year. So
Right around the corner.
it's right around the corner, yeah, a few weeks away.
Yeah.
Show it some.
Thank you. Anyone from the audience have any agenda items you'd like to speak to? Thank you for being here. Anything else from the board? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.